The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
C.D. Lamb, touchdown. End zone, Jake Ferguson.
Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, and Kyle Youmans.
It's a post-draft edition of Talkin Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, live from the Star in Frisco, Texas, in the SWBC studios. Welcome in, everybody. We've got Patrik "No-See" Walker, Josh Rodriguez,
Hi.
Chris Beam in the back. I'm Kyle Youmans. So glad you're with us. You know who else is with us?
Who that?
Caleb Downs, baby.
Wow.
Say it one more time. Just say it one more time.
You mean...
Like Kyle, let's say it's a pick six going to the house. Who is it?
Hurts back to pass, looking to his left. It's over the middle. It's intercepted. It's Caleb Downs. All sorts of running room to the 40, 30, 12, 10. It is into the end zone. Yeah. Touchdown, Cowboys. A Caleb Downs pick six to give the Cowboys a 47-0 lead over the Eagles in the first quarter.
I like that.
What was that thud? Did you hear that?
What was that?
That was Derek Eagleton promptly throwing me out of the press box after cheering for one Caleb Downs pick six.
NFL security throwing you out of the press box.
And by the way, the pressure on that play was from your other first-round pick, Malachi Lawrence, out of UCF. Really excited, if you can't tell, really excited about the draft class. The Cowboys get it done in the first round with their two first-round picks. It was all right. Caleb Downs falls to Dallas, at least in front of Dallas at 11. The Cowboys stay aggressive and they go up and get their guy. It was a fun weekend.
Hell yeah!
To say it shortly. I am just now recovering. I feel like from a long weekend of
very long
of studying and of watching and of seeing picks and talking on the radio. My voice is it's rough.
Not just the weekend, dude. I mean, like genuinely building up to the draft. I know that's like Kyle's time to shine, and obviously he's doing a lot during the season, but that's when Kyle's actually cooking the absolute most is during the draft process, the draft show. It's always great to hear you, the knowledge that you have, the knowledge that you bring. Star Magazine, that's still out, by the way, the draft guide, if you want to go check that out. But genuinely, Kyle, it's you should be proud, man.
Thanks,
It's always really good work,
appreciate
man.
it.
And I know the listeners appreciate you as well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And it wouldn't be without saying all the hard work that's in the back, too. Like behind the scenes with you guys and the website, and then Chris Beam and his whole crew cutting up B-roll, getting all the video and elements ready, and then our TV staff doing the same thing on their end. It's really it's a complete effort of just nonstop draft work. And so now that the hay is in the barn, as Jerry Jones likes to say from time to time, now we get a chance to review it and talk about how much better, if they are better, this football team is. Patrik, based on what you saw in the draft, what were your overall thoughts?
Spoiler alert. They're better. They're better. At least on paper, which is all we can go by, as the calendar turns to May 1st and rookies start to report in a few days. Veterans have started to voluntarily report. As of yesterday, you saw Dak Prescott, Jake Ferguson, a lot of those guys starting to kind of mill in. But when it comes to this draft, I mean, first and foremost, it has to begin and continue with the conversation of how Caleb Downs fell to the Dallas Cowboys. And I'll go ahead and I'll add some insight here. The Cowboys attempted to and were willing to trade up as high as number 6 to get one Caleb Downs. Wow. They were on the phone in deep conversations with the Cleveland Browns, but the Cleveland Browns wanted something that was just too rich for Jerry Jones and Steve.
More than 2 5s.
They wanted far more than 2 5s. And even if you look at the draft value chart, it makes sense. It's expensive to get from 12 to 6. But even outside of the draft value chart, I should say, in addition to, the ask was too much. So the Cowboys backed out of that, and it turns out that Caleb Downs was still staring them in the face as the number 11th team went on the clock, which was the Miami Dolphins. Cowboys got on the phone with the Dolphins, said, hey, let's work a thing. They worked the thing. 2 fifth-round picks went to the Dolphins. Cowboys get Caleb Downs. All is right with the world. And then the draft goes from there. You have another first-round pick. You get Malachi Lawrence, but you get him in addition to 2 fourth-round picks. I mean, this Cowboys team was wheeling and dealing. And unbeknownst to a lot of people, I just told you about the Cleveland Browns attempted trade. It didn't work. Browns were asking for too much. This Cowboys team was constantly on the phone throughout the totality of the draft, right? So they moved back from 20 to 23 to get Malachi Lawrence, but they were on the phone with the Chargers. Actually, the Houston Texans initially, because the Texans wanted to come up from 28 to 20. Wasn't enough time on the clock in order to get that deal struck. So what did they do? They struck a deal with the Eagles, got 2 fourth-round picks, and then got back on the phone with the Houston Texans and said, hey, can we interest you in 23? It didn't pan out, but that is all to say that the Cowboys were indeed cooking the big meal over the course of those 3 days. They didn't walk away with a second-round pick, but what they did walk away with was Caleb Downs and Malachi Lawrence and Jason Barham, and even ended it with a 7th-round pick that you would think, okay, it's a flyer, okay, cool, but he's literally a flyer. Guys like 4.4 40 speed,
4.37,
sub 440 speed.
Also 7 feet tall.
Yeah, 6'2".
Massive producer out of ECU.
Not quite 7.
Anthony Smith gets to reunite with Savon Revel. I'm not going to give them an A+ simply because I wanted them to figure out how to get the second rounder back. It would have cost them future capital. They just weren't willing to do that.
You wouldn't have had the same draft class.
You wouldn't have. But I also
They probably could have. They could have gotten the second rounder back.
I'm also not going to sit here and pretend I'm not giving them a stone cold A, because anything that grades this draft class right now on paper as anything less than an A is missing something. I don't know if you're missing film. I don't know if you're missing,
Positional
sense.
value.
I don't know. But for me, this is a stone cold A, and it starts with Caleb Downs and the improbability of him being available and them not waiting for 12. Them saying, you know what? Some people are going to say, well, why would you go up just one spot to get a guy? It's just like Jerry Jones said, because he didn't want it to be a situation where you're sitting there thinking, oh, he'll fall one more spot, and then the Dolphins take him, and then that's a regret that you have for the rest of your mortal life.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and just to set the stage, I mean, when we're upstairs and the trade talks are sort of happening, we're all kind of huddled upstairs, working on different sides of things. We're with the social team. I'm with, Patrik up there working. We're kicking ass and taking names up there, trying to do our absolute best to give you guys the content that you deserve in a timely manner. But whenever that trade, the talk started happening, it felt unreal. I was like, there's no way we're trading up. I have been a staunch, stick and pick guy this entire lead up to the draft.
Yeah.
I didn't think there was any way we were going to move up, because it's like, you have 2 solid picks and they traded out of both of those, up and then down a little bit. So they made the most of what they had in the draft. I genuinely feel that way. The fact that I was telling Amber this too, in my wildest dreams, I did not think Caleb Downs was going to fall that low.
Yeah.
Genuinely. And it's a conversation that we had before the draft process, and we had brought it up on Talkin Cowboys as far as the value of a safety and where that falls now in today's NFL. The edge rushers are being paid a premium, and a position like safety is not in high regard in value as that position. But now you're starting to see a tonal shift because all of that money is being tied up into the edge. You're starting to see more value in these guys in the back end. Jerry Jones talked about it. I mean, the front office talked about it when we traded Micah Parsons. It's like you're going to get 5 value players out of this one trade, and they've done just that. And it's not over yet. You still have next year's one, depending on where the record falls between us and the
Packers, yeah.
It's astounding that they were able to do that. Not to say that this is going to be the same production, not that any one of these guys is going to get the same production as a Micah Parsons, but you have to feel really good about the depth that you've built on defense, because you did not have this a year ago.
Yeah, because if you factor in now the 2 fourth-round picks into that selection, because remember the Packers selection was the 20th pick, so you trade back 3 spots, you pick up the 2 fourth-round picks, which helps revamp the 2 fifth-round picks that you sent to Miami to go get Caleb Downs at 11 and to provide an insurance situation. And for those that might be saying, why did they need to go up 1 spot? One, it sounds weird on paper.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just go up one spot, even if we don't think the Dolphins are going to pick a guy. Well, look at what happened between the Eagles and the Steelers with the Cowboys trading out from 20. That whole conversation happened because Pittsburgh assumed Dallas was taking a defensive player at 20, which they would have been right. It would have been Malachi Lawrence there at 20. They're on the phone saying, hey, what are you taking here? Are you taking defense? If that's the case, we're going to stay here at 21 and we're going to take Mekhi Lemon and it's going to be awesome. No, the Eagles are on the phone and then they trade up and they go to 20 and they take the guy from right out underneath the noses of the Steelers. Same thing could have happened for a team that really had Caleb Downs high on the list. They could have called Miami before Dallas did, even though Dallas was saying, they're probably going to take an offensive lineman. Fact of the matter is the 2 5th-round picks, and I thought Jerry put it well, were insurance for the selection to make sure you get your guy. Then you turn around and you leave the day after Thursday started with more draft capital than you entered the day with.
Better draft capital.
That's incredible. It really
unreal.
It was a drafting clinic put on by the front office, and they've been decent at drafting. I've said that before. You look at the track record between some of the best drafting teams in the NFL. We always talk about the Ravens on our show.
Yeah.
The Ravens can draft well. The Buccaneers have drafted well. I'm trying to think of some of the others. I mean, for the most part, the Rams and the Chiefs have drafted well to build to what they are now. At the top of the list in terms of Pro Bowlers and All-Pro selections in a draft class, it's Will McClay and the Dallas Cowboys. They have drafted well. Do they hit on every pick? No. But have they had the success? This is as far and away the best draft night one that I've seen. And I think the most shocking thing about it, because they made the 2 trades on day one to maneuver the board a little bit, is they did not trade again the rest of the weekend.
No.
They didn't
or
make
their future. They didn't
another
mortgage the
deal.
future.
Yeah, you didn't wager any picks from the future. You still could have that as a possible trade for another hole. We'll talk about that later in the show. You can use all of that for the future. You put together a draft class that I would argue is as good on paper as any that we've seen since 2020.
I agree.
And they are still able to make some moves moving forward. That's incredible work by the front office.
I agree. But
the maneuverability was amazing.
I also add, they did make one more trade. Day 2.
Oh, they made a trade. Yeah, you're right.
True.
Not for draft capital.
Not for draft capital. What I would say is let's throw D. Winters into this conversation.
Yep.
We have to throw D.
Gotta
Winters
talk
in.
about it.
The Cowboys lacking a second-round pick. What did they see happening in the second round? Well, there's your
Linebackers gone.
There's your run on linebackers right there, right? So the Cowboys, instead of sitting back and saying, hey, well, we'll just, we'll sit and we'll wait until the third-round pick, see how this plays out, and then we'll see if we can attack it in free agency. Not to say that they won't attack it in free agency by maybe a potential trade in the next week or so. We'll see. Wink. But they went out and they talked to the San Francisco 49ers, whom they had already been in conversations with for D. Winters as early as the trade for Osa Odigizua. The front office here said that once that trade was secured with Osa Odigizua going out to the Bay Area, they threw out D. Winters. The Cowboys didn't say, hey, we have our eye on him, but let's see how things play out in the draft. Smart play. They didn't just go ahead and say, let's get D. Winters in the package with Osa Odigizua, because you might have had to give up a little bit more to make that happen. They said, hey, we'll make the Osa deal happen. Let's revisit these D. Winters talks in the draft if we can't check the box off at linebacker. Second rounder, they didn't have one. The run happened on linebackers. They picked up the phone, called the 49ers, and called John Lynch, and they said, you know what? Remember we were talking about D. Winters? Let's go ahead and send him over in exchange for a 5th-round pick. Cowboys
Put him on a plane.
The Cowboys, for one of the first times I've seen in recent memory, they were not overvaluing their 5th-round picks. They weren't overvaluing their comp picks in the 5th round. They said, hey, we want Caleb Downs. We're going to move up one spot to keep a team from calling Miami and beating us to him. You can have 2 of those 5s. Take both comp picks. We don't care. But then turned around and said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to call the Eagles, and we're going to get 2 fourths. We lost 2 5s. We get 2 4s. I mean, these guys were willing and dealing. And then D. Winters, I'm not going to sit here and act like D. Winters is Fred Warner. But it is objective to say that once D. Winters' trade was executed, who was the first player that jumped online and said the Cowboys, quote unquote, got themselves a real one?
Fred Warner.
Fred Warner. Listen, you don't have to take no C's opinion. That's fine. Do you value Fred Warner's opinion? Because Fred Warner says the same thing. Will McClay says the same thing. I was talking to Christian Parker. He was saying the same thing. Scott Simons was saying the same thing. These are guys who are paid far more than me to do far more homework than me on these guys. D. Winters can come in. He has the green dot ability. Would he preclude me from making another move in free agency? No, he would not. However, what he does provide you is more than solid insurance to make sure that you are set going forward if you have to fall back on him and some of these other guys.
Can I add one more element here? The thought process, like you were talking about, of, the linebacker run happened in the second round. It did happen in the second round. They were proactive to even that. Like, they had this in mind before the linebackers started rolling off the board. Because remember, the trade wasn't announced yet on the internet side of things, but on our Cowboys draft show coverage, we saw the trade happen in the war room. It was before Jacob Rodriguez went at 43. It was before the first linebacker, because then it went Rodriguez, Trotter, Golday, Allen, all in the matter of 10 picks, and then add Anthony Hill Jr. by pick 60. Between 43 and 60 on the board, those 5 linebackers went. Dallas knew that was happening. Absolutely. Dallas was aware that was coming. So they said, you know what? Let's get the value now.
Yeah.
Let's get the value where we can. A guy who started 17 games last year. Is he going to be a game-changing caliber linebacker? That is yet to be seen. But what you did see on film is a guy who was drafted in 2023, is still in the early portions of his career, and started 17 games for arguably a solid defense in San Francisco last year. Whether it was because of injury or not, of course, that always plays a factor. I think it was another proactive move, and we're not sitting here just praising the front office because they're the front office. They made mathematical moves that you can't necessarily argue with, and they made their football team better with it. You can argue the picks themselves all you want, because you can say they reached on Malachi Lawrence. I had him as 33 on my big board. So that was a little high for me. I like Malachi Lawrence, and I like the plan they have for him. Did they reach for him? Maybe, but they didn't have a second-round pick.
Yeah.
So is it really a reach if you didn't have a second-round pick? I think all of this is just mathematical.
And they were willing to go back to 28 to get Malachi Lawrence if he was still there.
They were trying to do that.
If the Texans had, bitten on that bait that they were dangling in the water. Not once, but twice. They tried on 2 separate occasions to get back to 28 with Malachi Lawrence still in mind. But like you said, the furthest down they could get was 23. You have no second-round pick. You got to do what you got to do. If that's your guy, and if he was clearly their guy, they did what they needed to do.
They obviously felt really good about him. That was a name that we kind of heard leading up to the draft as a guy that, looking at his measurables, looking at what he was able to do both on the left side and right side defensive end. I think that's a value pick, at least for them. I didn't have him that high or anything like that. Not that I was like evaluating Malachi Lawrence. I obviously was looking at another defensive end that went a little before him. But I mean, you have to like the pick because they're confident in it.
You're talking about Bain?
I don't want to say that name anymore.
You know what name you can say? Caleb Downs.
All right, I like it.
Dallas Cowboy.
That makes up for it.
Shout out to our guy.
That's a fun little compromise,
Yeah, I'll take it.
Shout out to my guy, KD Drummond. I see you tapping in. He says D. Winters is a capable starter in the middle, but he doesn't necessarily wear the green dot. I agree on both counts. He is starter capable. He can wear the green dot. He did it for Robert Saleh with the 49ers. Mm-hmm. So, yes, he can do it for Christian Parker. Will he is TBD, because we need to see who else the Cowboys add, if anyone else. And then, everything will sort itself out from there.
Question for you guys. Is D. Winters your green dot?
Right this second?
No.
Probably. Who else is it?
Is he going to be
the
green dot?
Yeah, who else is it right now?
He's your Mike, so yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
he's your Mike.
Either that or it's going to be Caleb Downs.
Caleb Downs will call,
which they kind of dismissed.
They
dismissed it initially
a little bit.
Yeah,
they didn't entirely dismiss it. They did say that Caleb Downs will call some plays from.
I don't think they want to give that type of responsibility right up front.
Not just to a rookie, but they don't want a defensive back as the green dot. Scott Simons, he came onto the draft show. Great job with you guys interviewing these positional coaches. Scott Simons said in no uncertain terms.
Simon said,
Nice. And that's a bar, man. And no uncertain terms that he would prefer to not have the green dot, and the Cowboys would prefer not to have a green dot as a defensive back. They train the defensive backs in the case of emergency, injury, things like that, to be able to call the plays as a green dot. But he and the Cowboys front office and Brian Schottenheimer have already said they want the green dot to be a linebacker.
Maybe give the green dot to a guy that's bored.
However,
doesn't have enough to do.
Caleb Downs is not your normal defense.
Yeah.
He's
not just any
second level. He's going to be around the box. He's going to be at the line of scrimmage. He's not your normal defensive back. Just keep that in mind.
Not arguing against that.
All right. When we come back here on Talking Cowboys, we're going to talk about some of those day 2 and day 3 picks a little bit, break down what else they bring outside of Caleb Downs and Malachi Lawrence to the fold. We mentioned D. Winters as well. But what else did Dallas get on draft weekend? Some of these lesser-known guys that you can expect to see in the fold come this fall. You're listening to Talking Cowboys. More to come right after this.
Every day begins with a promise to work hard and to build a future. That's why we're here, providing the tools, expertise, and John Deere equipment you have relied on for generations to help you get the job done right. We're with you. That's our promise to you, because no matter the project or the challenge you're facing,
we're with you. We're united.
If you're looking for fresh American roasted coffee that gives back, you need to head to your local grocery store and pick up a bag of Black Rifle coffee. That's right, America's coffee is now available in the coffee aisle of a grocery store near you. Black Rifle Coffee Company is veteran-founded with a mission to give back to those brave men and women who have served our nation. Every bag, box, or can you purchase helps support that mission. Head to your local grocery store and roast yourself some Black Rifle coffee today.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner. With over $9 billion in business loans and more than 140 business specialists right here in North Texas, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Getting AT&T's best deal on a Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra made me realize I do deserve the best. Like this bubble bath with fancy soap and even this face mask.
Learn how new and existing AT&T customers can get the new Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra with Galaxy AI for $0 with eligible trading. Any condition. Requires trading of Galaxy S24 Plus, Z Fold 5 or newer. Installment plan and eligible wireless plan. Minimum $60 a month before discounts for AT&T Value 2.0. Subject to change. Visit att.com/Samsung for details.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Welcome back into Talking Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company, the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. This segment is brought to you by Invisalign, the official smile of the Dallas Cowboys. Plenty of smiles in the building over the last few days with Caleb Downs, Malachi Lawrence, Jayshawn Barham, by the way. Jayshawn is how you say his first name. Jayshawn Barham. Almost like I mean, it's two syllables, but it's a very emphatic J. Jayshawn.
Soft J.
And then Barham.
Barham. Oh. Yeah. I mean, I think technically
the B says Barham.
Like it says like Barham, like BARHAM, or that's what the B says.
As always, we're waiting for one of two things: the PR release for the pronunciation,
guide,
or when the rookies get here later this week.
And
I always make it a note to ask them.
Yeah, just ask.
Like, hey, just say your
Jayshawn Barham.
Yeah,
I see it right here. Yeah. If it's that, I'm wondering.
Do your draft prep, Kyle.
I'm wondering if it just kind of flows a little better, though. You know,
Barham sounds better than Barham.
But we'll ask him whenever he gets here this week. We'll see what happens. All right, let's talk about some of the day two pick, and then the day 3 picks. Anybody stand out to you as someone who is ready now to contribute?
I mean, contribute in what way? I think at least how I'm looking at it as, like I said, to lead off the show, you have depth now. You have depth at certain positions that you didn't have before. Barham, for me, at least, is a depth piece. I don't know that necessarily that he's going to start. He's not going to be starting, but a rotational guy, obviously. And I think, if anything, between Barham and then also Overton, you're going to see a lot of versatility with how they use them. At least that's kind of the vibe that I'm getting from what they're saying about these guys in particular. Please feel free to elaborate, Kyle, if you feel differently about it. But I think these guys will be versatile and depth pieces, if anything.
I agree with everything you're saying. I think when you look at the draft class, because of the gap where they picked from 20 to 92.
Jeez.
They were, that was a long time.
Give us those 3.
We were just chilling.
Yeah.
That 72 pick span is really the buffer in this draft class, especially between starters day one and not so starters day one. So I thought Dallas did a good job of hedging their bets to a certain extent. And I'm not talking about Baron Morton or whatever the guy's name is in Texas Tech right now that's having some problems with the gambling side of things. I'm talking about Jayshawn Barham. He's probably going to back up D. Winters.
Yeah.
Devin Moore is probably going to back up Deron Bland on the outside, or whoever ends up being the starting outside corners, whether it's Bland or Revel or Kobe Durant.
And you see him more as an outside guy?
Yeah, he's definitely an outside guy. I don't think he's going to play inside really at all. Malachi Lawrence is going to rotate in with Rashawn Gary, even though I think you'll see a bigger snap share for Lawrence than you would these other guys, just because he's ready and that's what the position calls for. And then LT Overton's kind of your secondary possibility for Otito Ogbonnia at that big end spot. They want him to be the big end, probably bulk him up a little bit more between year 1 and year 2 and put him on that edge. So I agree with everything you said. You give depth in that second line of guys, because I think if we looked at the starters on offense, say, okay, that's not the worst defensive team in the league like they were last year. Right. If everybody's healthy, everybody's up front, and you're talking about Kenny Clark, Quinnen Williams, Deron Bland, Malik Hooker, Kobe Durant, Jalen Thompson, Donovan Ezeraku, DeMarvion Overshone, Otito Ogbonnia, Rashawn Gary, I feel good about the starting caliber group. You did, Thompson, but then you I said I thought I said Jalen Thompson.
Okay,
if I didn't, Jalen Thompson. Then you jump off and it's Justin Barron. Nothing against Justin Barron, but it's Justin Barron and it's Marquise Bell and it's Julian Wood and it's Reddy Stewart and it's just guys that aren't ready to step in a moment's notice. And that's where you go south. And I think they did a good job of buffering that.
And that second tier of names, those are guys that you were heavily relying on last year.
Heavily, especially guys like Stewart and
playing snap after snap after snap. I mean, Bell, those guys were heavily relied upon, and now you've built up, like you said, that second tier, the backups basically. And like I said, these are depth pieces. I wouldn't expect more than 2 of these guys to be starting in any particular role. Honestly, Downs. And you have a very solidified starter in Downs, and everybody else is really just supplementing what you already have. But I feel good about it, because if that's the way they're looking at it, because you're not in a position where those second-tier guys are having to start for you, of course, unless there's an injury. But at least it's a different mindset, at least from this front office, than I've seen before, because you've been drafting these guys and saying, like, all right, we need you to start week 1 against Philly or whoever it is, like, get ready to go. And I don't think that's their modus operandi right now.
And I've kind of got a bit of a bold prediction.
Come on with it. Say it with your chest on Tuesday.
I will. I think by the end of the year, Jayshawn Barham could possibly start for you at inside linebacker, depending on what moves you make, depending on from what happens here on out. Because if you go back and you look at his 2024 film at Michigan, I liked that a lot more than I did as him as an edge rusher. And I was looking at him as an edge rusher. I knew he played some inside linebacker, but I thought, hey, it's Michigan. They have enough edge rushers. There's no need to move him to edge rusher if he's good at playing inside linebacker. I think I was wrong. They needed an edge rusher, and he was the best player to move into that spot, and they had some high-level recruits at the inside linebacker spot. I think he could really be a surprise for certain people as time goes on. Is it happening right this second? No. Is it happening out of the end of training camp in Oxnard? Probably not. But I think at some point in time, we're going to start seeing Jayshawn get more and more opportunities at that inside linebacker spot, more so to the point of it's all dependent on who they get from here on out, because they could sign another veteran, trade for a veteran,
of course,
whatever that may be, and that changes the whole equation. But as it sits right now, I could see that being.
They did sign a veteran, but it's not going to change the equation. We'll get to that in the third segment.
Right. But does the fact of him being a Wolverine, a Michigan Wolverine, dissuade you? Okay, because that was a narrative.
Yeah, I know.
Once we drafted a Wolverine on defense.
And it will be that way until further notice.
Yeah.
Although,
but that didn't dissuade you at all.
If he fizzles out and things fall off at that point, then maybe we could talk about it. But hey, Jordan Lewis was a Wolverine that played pretty good for you on the defensive side of the ball.
Also drafted in the 4th round.
Not just that, 92nd overall.
92nd overall.
Deshaun Barham, 92nd.
92nd overall, same pick.
We got welcome back.
It's written. It's written in the
He's
stars.
He's basically Jordan Lewis.
It's written in the stars. But no, I'm actually gonna cheat with these second round picks and say two guys. One, I'm going to lead with Devin Moore. I think Devin Moore might have an opportunity here to make more waves as early as year one than some are probably anticipating. Because I'm on the record, and I'll say it again. As much as I love Deron Bland, I am concerned about that foot. I'm concerned. That being said, hopefully, knock on wood, Deron Bland remains healthy. That's what you want for the entirety of the year, and for him to get back to prime form. Just like you want Savon Revel with his first healthy offseason, you want him to take a huge stride forward in year two. I feel like if for whatever reason I'm not going to assign injury to any guy, but if there's injury at the position, at the boundary corner position, I think Devin Moore, with his length, his physicality, his ability to press man and play in the zone, and the fact that he's 4.5 speed with that height and with that length, he's very disruptive. I think that he could come in and make some sort of impact for the Cowboys in year one, to the degree where it makes them possibly question some things going into 2027 as far as what that roster looks like in the cornerbacks room. Now, I'm going to flip over to LT Overton. I believe that Overton might be the sleeper on day 3.
Why is that?
I'm sitting there and I'm watching this guy's tape, and what kept popping in my head, I was like, man, Osa. I was like, Osa. In the concept of the Cowboys fit. How does he fit with the Cowboys? So Osa gets sent over to the 49ers. That was more contractual than anything, okay? Yep. But then when you look at, before they made the pick to LT Overton, look at who they have. Like Kenny Clark, great pass rushing defensive tackle. However, he's still on the bigger side of the spectrum. We know Quinnen Williams, he's a really good pass rushing defensive tackle, but he's the biggest guy on the roster.
Obonya.
He's a big guy. Yeah, Obonya. He's a big guy. Jay Toia. Big guy, right? So you got all these big guys, but what you didn't have is that tweener. And that's what you had with Osa before you decided you didn't want to keep paying that $100 million contract.
Too expensive.
Well, now you bring in LT Overton. He's a little bit undersized in comparison to Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark and Otito.
Well, look at Obonya, who he's probably playing behind right now. 320 for Obonya.
Monstrous.
And LT Overton's 274.
Monstrous. What you need...
It's a different type of play.
It is. And what Christian Parker wants, he wants at least one guy who can be that tweener, depending on how many men down are in the set, that you can say, hey, slide inside, or hey, pop outside and play a little bit wide. Mm-hmm. This is why I believe that LT Overton might be a bit of a sleeper, because I think he's going to get those opportunities because he's the niche. Mm-hmm. He's a niche player for Christian Parker. So I say that to say, don't sleep on it. I don't believe LT Overton is going to be a starter this year. I don't know that he'll be a starter come year 2, but mark my words, because he's the niche player for Christian Parker, he's going to get on the field. He's going to be schemed. They're going to have schemes for him. A rookie, day 3 pick, coming in, having plays schemed directly for him because he's the only tweener, so to speak, who can do it. It's going to give him a bunch of opportunities.
Different alignments, different schemes for that he's able to do.
He's not going to play right now. I don't see a fit for him, at least in line.
Starting day one.
Starting day one if it's a 3-4 base, right? Mm-hmm. But remember, and I keep trying to push this point because people don't remember, the 3-4 base doesn't mean you're running 3-4 the majority of the time. You're going to run nickel 60% of the time.
Nickel is base.
The 3-4 you might see 15 or 20% of the time this next year. So when you got 4 down linemen, there is a spot for LT Overton, and he's going to be just fine in that spot. I think in Osa Odigizua, he was kind of an outsider at the 3-4 spot because there's really not a great spot for a 6'2", 280+ pound defensive end because he's undersized for the defensive end spot, but he's too big for an outside linebacker spot. LT Overton kind of fits that same mold, but when there are 4 down linemen, he's going to be fine.
And obviously, he's still so young that they can sort of mold him into whatever they really need.
Bulk him up.
Yeah,
couple pounds, put him at that 4-eye spot. If you give him 15 pounds, he'll be fine. Listen. Which I talked about that with Keldrick Falk last week when I was saying, hey, listen, they're not interested in Keldrick Falk compared to other people. How did that play out, by the way? They drafted an edge rusher at that spot, and his name was not Keldrick Falk. But the thought process is you can mold those guys and either drop them 15 pounds, put them outside, or you could put them inside and have them gain 15 pounds. We're kind of seeing that with Jason Barham and with LT Overton.
And I think
they're two different directions.
They're marrying LT Overton with the perfect position coach and outside linebackers coach, Chidera Uzo-Diribe. Mm-hmm. And this is not biased. This is just me having much experience with, I'm not going to say it, with Uzo and his ability to coach up edge rushers at Georgia. Go Dogs. I lied. And but Mykel Williams, for example. Mykel Williams came out in the draft. He was 260. He needed to bulk up a little bit. But you're talking about LT Overton, 280, 285, give or take. Yeah, you want him to add a little bit of weight, but you don't want him to add so much that it puts him back in the category of like an Otito or Jay Thoia. You don't want him tap dancing around 300 pounds.
No.
But Chidera, he excels and has excelled at the collegiate level with some of these, I don't want to use the word light, but some of these not so heavy defensive tackle / outside linebackers who can just absolutely get after the quarterback. Yeah. So I believe that that's a good marriage as well. We're talking about these players. We got to talk about the marriage of the player and their position coach and the defensive coordinator, like Caleb Downs. He's exceptional already, and now he gets to go with Christian Parker and Derek Ansley and Ryan Smith.
Really quickly, speaking of measurables, and I know we're talking about Overton, but like going back to Barham for just a minute, like I believe I heard something on the radio and I forgot to look this up. What is it about his measurables that like puts him in like the 90th percentile of like players at that position? Like
Barham?
Yeah.
I've got to go look at it.
Okay.
Let me find it.
We can.
Well, I'll do it in the break. I'll look it up in the break. Here we go. When we come back here on Talking Cowboys, how did the rest of the NFC East fare in this draft class? And who had a good draft? Who maybe didn't have a good draft? Yeah, let's talk about it. When we come back with more Talking Cowboys right after this.
Getting AT&T's best deal on a Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra made me realize I do deserve the best. Like this bubble bath with fancy soap and even this face mask.
Learn how new and existing AT&T customers can get the new Samsung Galaxy S26 Ultra with Galaxy AI for $0 with eligible trading. Any condition. Requires trading of Galaxy S24 Plus, Z Fold 5 or newer. Installment plan and eligible wireless plan. Minimum $60 a month before discounts for AT&T Value 2.0. Subject to change. Visit att.com/Samsung for details.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Cowboys fans, we've got big news. Black Rifle Energy is now available at Texas 7-Eleven stores. And for a limited time, you can score 2 cans for just $6 at participating locations. These cans pack a serious punch, 200 milligrams of caffeine, veteran-crafted flavor, and the clean energy you need to power through those long days. So the next time you roll into your neighborhood 7-Eleven here in Texas, grab that 2 for $6 Black Rifle Energy deal and fuel up the American way. Black Rifle Coffee, America's coffee.
How's it going? You see that Cowboys game?
Oh, I watched. Been seeing some good things.
Totally. They have some talent.
Yup, some great talent.
And they got some fight.
Hoping this is the year.
Me too. Oh, I'm Cody, by the way.
I'm Travis.
Nice to meet you, Travis. Go Cowboys.
Go Cowboys.
Make a new friend based solely on their shirt choice. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, the official bank of the Dallas Cowboys. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Back here on Talkin Cowboys, reviewing the 2026 NFL Draft. Be sure to get a behind-the-scenes look at the home of the Dallas Cowboys with tours of AT&T Stadium, presented by SeatGeek. Check out the locker rooms, playing fields, contemporary art collection, and a whole lot more. Get your tickets today at attstadium.com/tours. I saw a video this week I thought was kind of fun. There was a viral video on Instagram Reels or TikTok or one of the social media platforms, and it was a gentleman's birthday, and his significant other took him to the stadium for an event. He didn't know what the event was, but they took him up to the stadium. They did like a whole tour. They went and sat down in certain seats. She had bought him season tickets for the Cowboys season as a birthday present.
Wow.
And I think that's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. That's one of the best gifts you could give to your significant other.
Barrier.
They may already be married. I can't remember.
Renew the vow.
Yeah. Do something. But I thought that was incredible. So congratulations to that Cowboys fan. I don't remember his name. I wish I did. My bad on that one. But I thought that was really cool. So I wanted to shout them out. And
that's cool.
Yeah. W gift. For sure.
And if you want to do that, make sure you schedule a tour.
There you go. That's what it reminded me of it. So that was good stuff.
AT&TStadium.com/tour.
All right. So I want to go through and look at the NFC East a little bit here in terms of what the rest of the division did at some point. But before this, so you wanted to clean up what you were asking about?
Yeah,
on the other
please.
side?
Yeah, you found the stat, and it was actually about Malachi Lawrence.
It's about Malachi Lawrence, and it was his relative athletic score, the RAS. You can find this at ras.football or at MathBomb on X. And Malachi Lawrence, defensive end prospect in the 2026 draft class, scored an unofficial 9.9 RAS out of a possible 10.
That sounds pretty good.
That's pretty good. That ranks 22nd out of defensive ends.
My goodness.
Since 1987.
Freak.
So out of 2,046 defensive ends, he was number 22. And pretty incredible stuff when it comes to the vertical, the height, the weight, the 40-yard dash, and so on and so forth.
Super freak.
Let me correct, 2 starters
He's a Rick James.
in the draft class.
There you go. The Cowboys draft class scored very high across the board on those, except for, Caleb Downs didn't test, so he didn't get one. But the RAS side, Malachi Lawrence was 9.9, as we mentioned. Jayshawn Barham was an 8.8. Shelton was an 8.5. Devin Moore was an 8.5. LT Overton was the one knock. It was a 2.5 out of the defensive end spots. And then Anthony Smith was a 9.2, by the way. So your 7th round pick. You talk about traits? Traits.
It's one I mentioned at the top of the show, right?
Mm-hmm. It's the one I mentioned back in January. That's what I get for covering the American Athletic Conference. The American Conference. They'll get mad at me that I said athletic.
We're not gonna say Anthony Smith's going to be, this, that, the third, but I will say, given his traits, given his production,
I like it,
and the fact that the Cowboys are so unsettled at WR4 and deeper, Anthony Smith has a great opportunity to come in here and make.
Watch out, Turpy speed.
Yeah, very much so.
Kevontae Turpin might be relegated simply to returning kicks and whatnot.
Anthony Smith can return too, by the way. All right, let's continue.
Look at what you did.
Let's talk about the New York Giants draft class. That's probably my favorite out of the NFC.
That's my favorite.
And by favorite, I mean I hate it the most.
Yeah.
No, I mean
Arvell Reese, Francis Malinois, Colton Hood, Malachi Fields.
The 2 shots of Caleb Downs.
They did draft a guy with 3 first names: Bobby Jamison Travis. J.C. Davis, Jack Kelly are the draft class for the Giants.
They passed on Caleb Downs. I do like that.
Thank you for that.
But listen, I mean the Giants. I'm not going to say they cooked. I think the Cowboys cooked, but the Giants, they did some things. They did some things. Taking Arvell Reese. I mean, you can start and stop the conversation there, because when you combine that with the rest of their defensive line, I'll tell you what, the Cowboys' offensive line better make sure that they come strapped up and ready to go, because that defensive front that they're going to face twice with New York
is nasty.
It's just nasty freaking work, and you got some things to figure out at left tackle with the Cowboys, which just happens to be Dak Prescott.
Arvell Reese, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau's still there. I mean,
an embarrassment of riches without Sexy Dexy. That is crazy.
It's nasty work.
Now the rest of their defense is pretty Pepe Le Pew. As
they could have used a safety.
Well, they did get a corner. They got Colton Hood, which was on one of the top guys on the Cowboys' radar, cornerback out of Tennessee. So they did get Colton Hood. So they did I don't want to say solidify, but they did upgrade.
I like Colton Hood.
They upgraded their secondary, and
I can't wait to see him get burned, but it'll be good.
They were desperately in need of an upgrade. So yeah, I think Arvell Reese is a home run for them. I believe, especially combined with the others in that defensive line, and the rest. Colton Hood, I think, is instant upgrade for them. But overall, outside of the Cowboys, I think the Giants had, I think they had the best.
I mean, I'm not even going to
in the NFC East
count the Cowboys here as far as the NFC goes because of my bias, but I would say they had the best draft of the NFC East aside from the boys.
I agree. The Eagles, Mekhi Lemon, USC wide receiver, Eli Stowers, the Vanderbilt tight end / wide receiver, Markel Bell, the mammoth offensive tackle that can't really move his feet, super great. Cole Payton, North Dakota State quarterback, guard from Georgia, Micah Morris, you can't say it. Cole Wisniewski, the Texas Tech safety. I like their set. It's funny. My favorite picks for the Eagles draft class as a whole are their 7th round picks.
Wow.
I liked Cole Wisniewski. I was hoping he would end up here. I like Uar Bernard just because of the possibility. He's one of the international program or pathway program gentlemen. He was from Nigeria. Just a freak of an athlete. I mean, he's special. He also scored a 9.9 on that athletic score.
If he gets this football thing figured out,
it might be.
Oh my!
It might be bad.
And who did they draft with their 2 5th rounds that the Cowboys gave him?
They took Cole Payton with one of them, and then they traded the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Micah Morris was the other, but they moved out.
Yeah. So, and then Washington, Sonny Styles. Love Sonny Styles. Great pick there for Dan Quinn. I think he's going to – I could see Sonny Styles doing something similar to what Micah Parsons was doing, where Dan Quinn had him as an off-ball linebacker initially. Didn't know he had the edge rusher side of things. More so was talking about what they could do in coverage. And then, hey, oh my gosh, this guy's got some edge rush possibility. And then he does that with Dan Quinn. I think that's kind of the vision that he would have there. Antonio Williams, the Clemson wide receiver in the 3rd round. Joshua Joseph from Tennessee. I liked him in the 5th. I thought that was good value. Katron Allen, Penn State running back. They always find a day 3 running back. Matt Golbin, the Michigan State center, and then the quarterback from Rutgers, Kalakamanis. Athon Kalakamanis.
What do you think of Athon Kalakamanis?
I mean, I'm not going to lie to you.
Sounds like a 7th round pick.
Yeah, like he's a 7th round pick. I watched Cole Payton, the Eagles guy, a little bit more just because he was a little further up the board. But Kalakamanis, he was a bus driver in college, so I don't see anything different moving forward.
Yeah, no,
so what was the reasoning there? I mean, of course, they're solidified quarterback. They're fine. But
just take a guy to see what happens. If you don't want to fight for him in undrafted free agency. See what happens there. So
I think far and away the Cowboys, as far as NFC East teams go, the Cowboys won the NFL draft. We'll see how it all plays out when these prospects get on the field at the NFL level. But yeah, I think the Cowboys did it. I think the Giants came in at 2nd, and I think outside of Sonny Styles, you look at the other 2 teams. But really quickly, and we'll go, I'm not going to run down the list of undrafted guys. I'm going to say there's one guy, in my opinion, that everyone needs to keep an eye out on as far as undrafted guys are concerned. Michael Trigg, tight end out of Baylor. The Wells got his guy. Tight end was a sneaky need. We've talked about this. You've talked about it as well. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to go into what the need is specifically because we're out of time. But Michael Trigg, talk about a freak athlete. He's basically just, I don't know, man. He's.
I thought he was a draftable player. I had a 4th.
I don't know how he fell to the ranks of the undrafted, but he did. Hometown kid out of Baylor.
Thank you.
And Lunda Wells, I believe, is going to absolutely take this kid to the next level. And that's going to make this tight end room so fun, especially as Brevin Spann-Ford.
They've had some luck with undrafted tight ends.
Listen, Brevin Spann-Ford versus Michael Trigg, both pushing Jake Ferguson. Sign me up.
There, one more thing that we got to talk about before we get out of here. What's your concern level with the George Pickens situation? Signing the tag, not signing the tag. He just hasn't been in the building, right?
Yeah. Right.
So he hasn't been able to sign the tag.
As of yesterday, which was the one day that they could have been in the building. Veterans reported voluntarily yesterday, which was Monday.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't in the building yesterday. We'll see if he's in the building today. But if he's not in the building today, it's still voluntary. He already notified the team that he is going to sign the franchise tag. The Cowboys have already gone on the record time and again, and most recently during the draft when Stephen Jones said zero intention on trading him. I get it, though. Micah Parsons.
Headlines.
I get it.
Understand.
But I do believe that George Pickens, I don't believe he's going to rescind his notice to them because he told them he's going to sign it. I believe he's going to sign it. When might that be? I think the smart play, if I'm George Pickens, let me put on the George Pickens hat. Not speaking for him, but if I'm George Pickens, I am going to sign it. I didn't tell you that I was going to sign it this weekend. I just said I'm going to sign it. I'm going to protect myself. See you in training camp.
There was an interpretation by
mandatory minicamp.
Michael Irvin, who has some history playing wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys and negotiating with Jerry Jones, who reflected and interpreted that him announcing or sending an email or communicating with the front office saying, I'm going to sign this day one of the draft is a way of him saying, like, don't draft a wide receiver.
Don't draft one.
Don't draft one. I'll be here.
Yeah.
And
I want to be
that
here.
point, I don't see George Pickens doing that and then turning around and leaving the Cowboys high and dry by not signing the tag before it matters. Right now, it doesn't matter. And I also say that because he's been working out all offseason with Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and these other receivers. So the connection is still there. The chemistry is still there. The timing is still there. Only question is, when will he sign it? When will he report mandatory minicamps? Not till June.
Don't worry about it right now.
There you go. All right, that does it for us here on Talking Cowboys. Hope you had some fun with us. We'll be back next week at 10 a.m. Central Time to break it all down for you. For Patrik Walker, Josh Rodriguez, Chris Beam in the back, I'm Kyle Youmans saying so long from Talking Cowboys. We'll see you on Tuesday.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys? Yeah!